As I said, or as you've introduced, my name is Vicky Logan and this is Clodagh Webb. And we were asked just to give a little bit of background on who we are, first of all. So if you can see this screen just has a few different emblems which help to reflect a little bit of my journey. So originally, I am from Omagh, but I grew up, obviously Omagh, the demographics of Omagh, many will know. So I grew up in a very cross-community environment and went to a lot of different organisations as a child, and this helped to shape who I was. And I was involved in the Ulster Project. As a teenager, at 13, I went to Arizona, and then as a young adult at 21, then I led a team of 10 teenagers to Louisiana. So again, that was like a peace and reconciliation project in America. Obviously, Omagh has had its difficulties. I think I'm the last generation of the Troubles, and I was in the Omagh bomb, so obviously that had an impact on my life, and I was very involved then with the Wave Trauma Society, our centre after that, and I was involved in that as a young person, and then I went on to lead various activities with other young people in that as well. And then I went to Stranmillis to study, and under wonderful tutorship from Norman Richardson, I studied RE at Strand. And there I came in contact with the inter-college programme with St Mary's University, where I was very involved in that for 4 years and went across to both universities, and I absolutely loved that. And also when I was at Strand, I had the opportunity to have an international placement where I went to Hong Kong, and I studied at an education university there and taught there as well in an international school, which was great to understand a different way of education and learn about their culture as well. Also had a placement with YouthLink, which is a cross-community organisation, works in the community, works in churches, works in schools, etc. And then last, but certainly not least, I had facilitator training here at Corrymeela as well, which was brilliant. So I'll pass you over to Clodagh.
Well, how do I match that? I don't think I do. I'm Clodagh Webb. I'm the principal of Acorn Integrated Primary School. We have a nursery unit and a playgroup, so we educate children from 2 years, 10 months right up to 11. I would like to thank the folks here for the invitation. I've never set foot in Corrymeela before, and I've often wanted to, so thank you very much indeed. Very briefly, my background: I was born in Belfast. My parents were my greatest influence. I grew up on the Antrim Road in the height of the Troubles. I was about 10 in the mid-70s, so you can work out my age. Yes, I know, the creams work a mile. The height of the Troubles. My parents made our home open to all because there weren't many safe places for young people to go at that stage. My father was a church environment minister, and he started the process of getting the local clergy together, including having the local parish priest come to preach from his pulpit, which was quite revolutionary in those days. Those events had a big impact on me as a young child and have affected what I have done throughout my life. I've been open to ideas and learning from others. It's impacted so much. I'm in a mixed marriage, and our one child plays both hurling and rugby and is open to all cultural influences. God love him anyway. I did train as a nurse initially and took off to the bright lights of London. I followed a man, which was the biggest mistake, but anyway. And he didn't, reciprocate, but anyway, moving on. I returned home and retrained as a teacher. We have 6 teachers in my family, and I had nothing to talk about at Christmas, so I decided I had to retrain. And I've worked for nearly 25 years in the integrated sector. It was a deliberate choice on my part to work in that sector because of my previous influences. Music plays a big part in my life. I sing in a couple of choirs. My husband regularly reminds me not to break any windows, I have to say. But just to go back to the early influences, I passionately believe that the younger you are, when you are open to those influences or exposed to meeting with the other side, the bigger the influence, and it's a natural progression then from there.
So you can see now that we have 15 classes on board. And you can see this board here, this is all our teachers that are now buddied up. We had Chris in last year, and they trained our staff in the Buddy Up programme, and we take that really seriously when the teachers come together. And can I just say that I attend every first planning meeting for every new partnership, every teacher that comes together. So that means I'm there to reassure them, to answer any questions. I provide them all with the lesson plan template, the evaluation template, the light bulb moments. For every lesson we do light bulb moments, what went well, things that we would switch. And so it means that I know exactly what's going on. I have 7 WhatsApp groups. I have each year group, and including a principal's WhatsApp group. So it means you're on top of everything. It is like a full-time job. But it's absolutely brilliant to ensure the high practice. So the pupils, how they are buddied up is exactly how Chris have recommended. We bring pictures of all the different children within our classes. We talk about their personalities, we talk about the little quirks, we talk about what they like and what they dislike, and we try to amalgamate them or collaborate them as best we can. Whereas the teachers, well, we just have to we have to go together. But thankfully, all our teachers are on board, and they're passionate about it as well. I've already mentioned about the joint planning time. That I think is absolutely essential. As everybody knows, teachers are so busy and you don't want to throw something additional onto them. And thankfully, now shared education is seen as the norm in our schools. We have teachers out all the time. We're in each other's schools all the time. Tomorrow we have 5 teachers out, all P1, P2 staff, assistants, and that's on TPL training, which again we will mention too as well. We're sharing good practice with one another. We're trying to be sustainable in that. Then our high expectations and stimulating learning environment. Obviously, if you've got planning time, you're going to be creating good lessons, and everybody's lesson plan, it's the same structure, and obviously there's a lot of openness within that. And initially, or central to what we're trying to do is provide pupils better for their next stage of education, and we do a lot of work on transition because a lot of our pupils then maybe come together when they're in secondary school.
So Vicky's already mentioned that we're working towards enabling, our in-house expertise so that we enable our own sustainability with the programme. So each of our year groups this year, just to give you a taster of what they're doing this year, so the nursery curriculum, through the theme of teddy bears, how lovely is that? They're working on, first of all, making new friends. This, socialisation in the nursery class is very important, and making new, working in groups, which is a tricky thing to do, even for adults sometimes. So then into P1 and P2, they're looking at play. They start off with a getting to know you session first, and then they're working on numeracy. Primary 3 are looking at RE and looking at world religions. I have to share this one with you. So I was teaching primary 7, I will stop soon. I was teaching a primary 7 class, and I had allocated various world religions to various groups around the room, and came to the Christian group, and they were having a conversation. What are Christians? And I thought, well, that was quite interesting. So there was quite a bit of learning to be done there, I have to say. But anyway, moving on. Primary 5 look at numeracy, internet safety, and Oakfield come to visit us during Integrated Week to see what we do during that week as well. Primary 6 look at numeracy. They look at personal development and mutual understanding and the world around us. And Primary 7 focus on numeracy and literacy, but also moving on to post-primary. So there are shared lessons there looking at the transition to post-primary, which is really important. And we have had children saying, it's been great going to my post-primary because I've met people who I've met from the other school. I know them already and I'm confident going to the new school. And that is a very, measurable thing, obviously, that they can say that to us. All our classes video conference at the beginning of each school year. It's quite a technological challenge. Vicky does many running around finding leads and putting them in various ports and things like that, and I just sit there and smile. And so right from nursery, they have the opportunity to see each other, greet each other, and see a little bit of each other's school environment. So that's what we do with that. And then we have, as we've said already, joint lessons now from this year, right from nursery to P7. They're all involved. I think the overall message is we're stronger when we work together, and we can move forward together and improve the opportunities for learning, both formally and informally, for colleagues, staff, children, and our parents, as we'll talk about now in a little while. As one of the things that we did as improving our outreach into the community, we produced a leaflet advertising the open events for both schools, and this was distributed throughout the local community through door boxes. You can see Vicky demonstrating here, and into just random doors, into local GP.
I never got turned away yet.
Did you not?
No.
Good. GP practices in libraries, etc. To an extent, we're quite close, as you've worked out, and we do compete for some of the same children. But this joint leaflet sent a very powerful message to the community about our collaboration together. So again, progressing our community partnerships. Community links can be the hardest area of shared education to develop and establish, and we've worked very hard to do that. I'll just highlight a couple there for you. The community learning workshops, you can see about halfway down there, those were first aid and mental health workshops for our parents, and they really enjoyed coming to those and got a lot out of those. Our Vicky School has a PTA, we have a Parents' Council, and they've come together to work together. And our P7s had a shared leavers event in one of the local hotels, which worked really well as well. Just to mark their leaving us and graduating.
So community connections. Yeah, this is not Clodagh. So I don't know if any of you have ever organised a fashion show before.
Don't.
Yes, it was massive amount of work, but an absolute success. So we basically went all out on this.
Unbelievable.
So we had Pete Snodden from Cool FM, which is a brilliant compere. We wanted to think, right, how are we going to get as many of the community there as possible? So obviously we involved the children. So basically we went from top down, so we had Board of Governors from both schools modelling, we had teachers from SLT, we had teachers, we had assistants, we had principals, sorry, nearly forgot, and then we had all our little buddies right from P7 to nursery.
Right down to nursery.
Yeah, so we had four. So I had 2 practices at night in school. Yeah, so it was amazing. Yeah, we had a choreographer that came in and helped us with routines. So it was it was a lot.
I haven't got over it.
Yeah. Okay, so then you can see there it said about free goodie bags. So I thought, right, how are we going to get, how else can we get people involved in this? So Clodagh said, what about the PTA? So we had both PTAs involved. I had written out to various chemists, various organisations to get any free samples of perfume, creams, etc. So then both PTAs and I was there as well after school, and we put hundreds of bags, little gift goodie bags together, and we set those in everybody's seats. So everybody who went got a little goodie bag and also had some sweets in it and little.
It's like Paris.
Yeah. So and then a little leaflet about what we're trying to do as well. And on that night, we made over £3,000 as well. Our joint choir, so our joint choir sing at loads of different events. Our joint choir sang on that night. It's actually hard to differentiate between them because their uniform is so similar. We both have a green uniform. And also we sang at the Peace Proms in the SSE Arena. We sing at Sainsbury's at Christmas time. We sing in our local nursing homes. Basically, we just get invites now to places and we just go everywhere we get invited. Again, school council, which I look after. So that's in Oakfield staff room. So that's the children all up for a little meeting, and they just feel so important that they get into the staff room, and obviously they are very important. We run various different competitions. We've had an Easter basket competition, an Oakfield and Acorn Junior Bake Off. And then for that, so the judging, so we're not biased in any way. So Oakfield Council go to Acorn to judge and vice versa. And then there is the shoebox appeal. So also at harvest time, we have our harvest assemblies in both schools, and we really try to reach out and help our local community through the community food bank. We have hundreds and hundreds of food that comes in, and every class has been allocated something to bring, right from nursery to P7 in both schools. So nursery bring in cereal, P1 bring in biscuits, P2 bring in soup, P3 bring in fish products, etc. And then, so that's in the local community. Then we try to get our children to think further afield, globally as well. So we provide hundreds of shoeboxes for Blythewood as well. Also, this was a few years ago, but that was the Queen's birthday. So many children in Acorn didn't really know about the Queen's birthday. Yeah, so we had a great event there as well. And again, we go to a lot of things in each other's schools. Sometimes we go to a mutual space as well, just have a variety of different areas. And then this was in the leisure centre, and we were having like team building and sports activities. We try to encompass a lot of different things.
So just a little focus on primary 1 for a little minute. So this was actually some photographs from last year's primary 1. The staff engaged in TPL training for a course on play, and the issues were the benefits of play, and particularly for parents. So we had a big come and play day for those classes coming up together, and there were indoor and outdoor play stations. And also part of it was teaching parents, that sounds so patronising, teaching parents how to play with their children, but they're more and more engaged with their screens and things like that, that this was very important. But it was a great day. The sun shone, parents were hula hooping, and there was great fun and great laughter, and it was a very natural way for them to learn and get to know each other. It's very difficult to measure the impact of this, but for us it is monumental to have parents in each other's schools chatting and laughing together. That really is important.
And basically all parents came to this, and it was just so natural integration. Like the P1 teachers were telling me that the parents were all like hula hooping together and laughing away, and just they wouldn't even speak to each other maybe in the street, but this was, breaking down barriers. So Mental Health Week. So Shared Education Week was the 8th to 12th of October. And I realised that this was in line with Mental Health Week as well. So I thought, right, let's draw something together for that week. So we organised an event every day in both schools. So we called it Mental Health Week. And this was for teachers, parents and pupils. So we started off with assemblies in both schools. So we're looking at this holistically, looking at it physically, emotionally, spiritually, everything. So we had a special assembly saying that you're made for more. We then had, each teacher then had contacts, and every teacher in both schools were willing to try and get a contact to come into their classroom. With any connection with mental health. Maybe some people's sisters were mental health nurses, some people's mothers were podiatrists. There was all different links in every classroom, so that was happening on one of the days. On another day, we had in both schools, we had a Pilates instructor come in, and every class from nursery to primary 7 had half an hour session of Pilates. Also, we had partnered up our P6 with our nursery, our buddies. They went on a teddy bear toddle round the schools that was thinking of their exercise. We had a cinema afternoon in both schools where we watched the movie Inside Out. I'm sure many of you know it's all to do with emotions. And then we had follow-up PDMU lessons on that. Also for that, I had written to Tesco, the community liaison there, and I got 600 pieces of fruit donated. So I sent Mr. McCluskey and Mrs. Webb to Tesco because I was teaching to collect the fruit. And so all
banana boxes.
So basically we're thinking there about healthy snacks rather than the kids. I was like, now I'm warning you, it's not popcorn and not Coke, but they were all on board because they knew the ethos of this week. Then we had Uplift in, and again that was from nursery to primary 7, half an hour slots, and their musical and drama organisation, and that was building confidence. And then we had Public Health Agency, and we have all our staff trained in that mental health and wellbeing, all our children, and as many parents who were willing to attend that. So it was very significant every day that there was something going on that. And I think we're the only school actually to have from the Public Health Agency are coming in to do a case study actually on, on us. Because we have pupils, parents and teachers all trained in that. And that was kindly sponsored by Danske Bank.